Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo. It's October 14th and I'm back into the studio to do these devotions. I was out all last week, so you guys probably, hopefully missed it a little bit. And we're going to actually be today, not in Ezekiel 5. We're going to be in 6 and, 7 today. So sorry about that. A little bit kind of rusty, I think. Anyway, we had a great time and had a good week off, Sill's fall break. And now we're back with the devotions, Ezekiel 6 and 7 today. I'm rolling through the book of Ezekiel. It's a big book. It's a long book, but we've gone through some long books. I mean, let's face it, we went through all of the Psalms. I mean, that's pretty intense to get through all the Psalms. And then we went through Isaiah, of course, and Jeremiah. So those were some long books. So we're going to get the last really long book of our Old Testament devotion in this book, Ezekiel. Remember, Ezekiel means God will strengthen. So let's check out this couple chapters, see what kind of the theme is and how it applies to our life. You could always check out the archives of these streams at my YouTube channel, and it's my name. It's a very French Canadian name, very vowel oriented, so a lot of just circles, kind of thing when you're writing it. But type in my name in the search bar at YouTube, and you will come up with my profile page, my main page, where all the playlists are available by book. So pretty cool. I'm looking forward to finishing up the entire Bible, having it on video. That's going to be cool. So chapter 6, this is judgment against Israel's mountains. Interesting, right? And it says, again, the message came to me from the Lord, from Yahweh. So again, Yahweh is speaking through these people to the nation. And it says, Son of man, turn and face the mountains of Israel and prophesy against them. Now, just a reminder, Ezekiel's in Babylon. So he is to turn his face towards Jerusalem and prophesy, specifically the mountains of Jerusalem. You think of Bob Marley, Holy Mount Zion, here I come. Or that's Freddie McGregor. I always misquote that one. But Bob Marley talked a lot about Holy Mount Zion as well. Freddie McGregor, by the way, is another reggae guy. But nice to listen to a ton of reggae in Southern California. But when you listen to reggae, it's a very biblical kind of framework. They're using the Bible. And so they read about the holy mountain, Mount Zion, the place of the temple, the place of meeting with God. That's what the term offering is all about, right? That which is brought near, the word offering, that which is brought near, the place to be close to God, to get near to God. Why? Because something's wrong, right? There is kind of a distance between humans and the deity. We don't see God when we walk outside. There's some separation going on. We need to be made right. Put in the right, in a sense, framework to be able to converse with the deity. It's really radical. And it seems really true, because when you go outside, you just don't see much of the deity. Instead, you see a lot of yuck, right? With what humans do. And so Ezekiel's to set his face towards the mountains of Jerusalem. The Bible says to set your face towards God, towards Christ specifically. Set your eyes on Jesus. It's something to think about this morning. Where's your eyes? Where are you facing? What really are you facing? Are you just chasing the dream? Is that what you continue to do? Oh, do you find the pattern in your life already that you're just doing the same thing over and over, even though you call it something different and, to make yourself feel kind of good, but really you're setting your face on the wrong thing. We've all set our face on wrong things, by the way. No one's not done that. And it says, proclaim this message from the sovereign Lord against the mountains of Israel. This is what the sovereign Lord says to the mountains and hills and the ravines and valleys. I am going to bring war upon you, and I will smash your pagan shrines. The idea is, I'm going to talk to you, land. Now remember, the Old Testament, really what we've seen is that God has a piece of property, and that property can be given to whomever he wants to give it to. And there's a certain property, in a sense, to meet. It's in a sense mercy that God would designate a certain land to be able to meet with people, because there's such a rift with the human species and the deity that there needs to be, in a sense, a place of meeting, right? Because there is no way to bridge this gap. It is that big. But God's always had a plan, and we've kind of seen some of that. So a lot of hints of it, and we're waiting for this Messiah to come and kind of fix it all. And that's all in the Old Testament. And so we see this kind of neat, prophesy against these places, and it says, all your altars will be demolished, all these idolatry places of worship destroyed. I will kill your people in front of your idols. I will lay your corpses in front of your idols and scatter your bones around your altars. Now, of course, it seems like it's talking about humans, just being laid bare, if you will, before the valleys and the ravines and the mountains and all those things. It says, wherever you live, there will be desolation, and I will destroy your pagan shrines. Your altars will be demolished, your idols will be smashed, your places of worship will be torn down, and all the religious objects you have made will be destroyed. The place will be littered with corpses, and you will know that I alone am the Lord. Definitely cannibal corpse, man. This is definitely a lot of corpses going on. I don't know much about cannibalism, but it's just the idea of a lot of human bodies, right? The idea is judgment. War's coming, and you're going to get it. And you're going to be out of that land because of what you've done, right? And this kind of consequence, something we don't, again, enjoy, and we don't like to think like this. We don't like to think about accountability or judgment or things like that. And sometimes we'll think other people are going to get judged and we won't. We're too good now. We've done too many good things to outweigh the bad. But it's interesting that the Bible we've already read says no one living before the deity is righteous. Ooh, that puts us all in that same boat of yikes. Now specifically, this Jerusalem, this place of Israel, is going to receive its kind of final judgment here. And it's going to be pretty intense, meaning the judgment from Babylon, at the hands of Babylon. It says, but I will let a few of my people escape destruction, and they will be scattered among the nations of the world. And then when they are exiled among the nations, they will remember me. They will recognize how hurt I am by their unfaithful hearts and lustful eyes that long for their idols. Wow, it's kind of a neat picture, again, of God in kind of humanity. And this is interesting about the Old Testament, is that the deity is given or is described with a lot of human likeness, right? Yet we know that God's not human per se, but we get these hints that there is a personality with the deity. So it shouldn't shock us that God would one day bear a body and walk amongst us as a human. Now, this is hinted to over and over and over, and we've already gone through many Old Testament books where this is what's being spoken of. Yahweh is going to judge Israel, be in Jerusalem, hang out in the temple, teach his people, shepherd them, be a lawyer to them, all these things. He's going to show his salvation to them. All these things. And he's going to do it there with them in person, So God has given this personality. It's great. You don't want to or throw that out. So the Bible just is saying that God has a personality. He's not just some concept. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Clap your hands in horror and stamp your feet. Cry out because all the detestable sins the people have committed. Now they are going to die from war and famine and disease. Yeah. Have you ever read history? This is the history of a lot of people. All of us, actually. Gone through different wars. Our ancestors dying, right? So this happens. Even though we don't like to read about it, this happens, and this did happen. So disease will strike down those who are far away in exile. War will destroy those who are nearby. So very similar to the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, where you see famine and you see war and you see, disease. It says, they will know that I am the Lord, and their dead will be scattered among their idols and altars on every hill and mountain, under the green tree and the great shade tree, the places where the sacrifices were made. It says, I will crush them and make their cities desolate from the wilderness in their south of Riblah in the north, and they will know that I am the Lord. So the idea is God does things so that he is known. And maybe that's what the last days are going to be like too, right? Is that God will judge in such a way to where people know, wow, this is definitely God. Meaning when God judges in a special judgment of his hand, so to speak, it's not something where we kind of go, I wonder if that's God or not. It seems like when God does it, it's pretty clear. This is the deity doing his thing, right? And it says that they will know, right, that I am the Lord. Israel will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, man, their God is doing a work in their life. And so it says, then this message came to me from the Lord. Son of man, this is what the sovereign Lord says to Israel. The end is here. Wherever you look, east, west, north, and south, your land is finished. Again, talking about the land. Now, it's cool, I think, that in this judgment, you see that what God is moving towards is always that he be known. And, that we know him. And it's neat to have that idea. Can God be known? That might be a question that you've asked yourself a lot. Can you really know God? I mean, that's a big idea, the deity. I can't wrap my head around the entire creation, let alone the creator. But yet the Bible insists there is a knowing that is possible of God. And that really the Bible is a history book and a book of evidence of the existence of God. And one of the reasons why it's even there is so that you may know and I may know God. So God wants to be known. And the Bible is in a sense, a fix book, trying to fix the problem, fixing the issue. God is wanting to be known and makes himself known in a way that doesn't compromise who he is, his holiness, his righteousness, and his love and his mercy. All those things are held intact through the way he makes himself known. And so he's going to make himself known to his people, once again, who have kind of moved away. Maybe you've moved away from God. And maybe he's doing some things in your life to make himself known to you once again. And maybe, you need to now go, hey, you know what? God is real. Not just some concept of God that we call spirituality, but actually the true and living God can be known. And that you need to now acknowledge who God really is. And maybe, just maybe, bow the knee to him. Right? Bow the knee. Surrender your life. No longer setting your face to other things, but now setting your face in the right area so that you may know God. Yeah, he loves you. He's got a plan. And it's a better plan than the one you got. We're not too good at being God. I don't know if you've figured that out yet as a human being, but we've kind of fallen quite short of God-like status. So verse 3 says, no hope remains. Remains for what? Jerusalem. They're going to be judged. For I will unleash my anger against you. I will call you to account for all your detestable sins. Now, I like to look at my own life and kind of teleport it into kind of these statements. Like when it talks about like that Jerusalem will be judged and God's going to call to account again, and the accounting that we have with God, we are accountable to God for all of our detestable sins. I don't like to look at other people and go, oh man, that's talking about those people over there. But I like to go, this is me. This is me. And this is why I need saving, is because I got detestable sins. I need to be called to account. The worst thing that can happen to any of us is that God let you go. That God let you go and do your thing. That you be your own God. You go worship yourself. When God lets us go, it is the most horrible of situations. There is no hope. Because think what you're saying. The true and living God has no grab of you. He lets you go and do your thing. That's a tremendously sad situation. And for those of us who have done it and have, in a sense, do it, right? Where we have moments where we do our own thing. No, hold on to us, Jesus, right? There's a song by Sean McDonald, and he wrote "Hold On to Me," and I loved that song. Sean McDonald, yeah, "Hold On to Me." It's such a cool song because it's like I want to hold on to God, but I need Him to hold on to me. Ooh, yeah. So this is what the sovereign Lord says, verse 5, disaster after disaster is coming your way. The end has come. It's finally arrived. Your final doom is waiting. My final doom is waiting, right? Without salvation, all I got is doom, right? Impending doom. Whoa, man, I'm on the heavy metal band naming thing today. Impending Doom is an incredible Christian metal band. Oh, man, I think they're retouring too right now, or are going on a tour again. O people of Israel, the day of your destruction is drawing. The time has come. The day of trouble is near. Shouts of anguish will be heard on the mountains. Not shouts of joy. Soon I will pour out my fury on you and unleash my anger against you. I will call you to account. Again, this is an accountability chapter, right? Woo! Because of what? Your detestable sins again. And I will turn my eyes away and show no pity. I will repay you for all your detestable sins. So maybe the reason why we don't see God outside is because of our detestable sins. There is a turning away, right? So the absence of God isn't a proof of the non-existence of God. It could rather be proof of our abominable actions. And so then you will know that it is I, the Lord, who is striking the blow. The day of judgment is here. Again, so that you know I'm doing it. The day of judgment is here. Destruction awaits. People's wickedness and pride have blossomed to full flower. Ugh, have our wickedness and pride blossomed to full flower. Their violence has grown into a rod that will beat them for their own wickedness. And it says, none of the proud and the wicked people will survive. All the wealth and prestige will be swept away. All the wealth, pride, all the money, right, that's running everything, right? The people that will vote in that aren't for you, man. I hate to tell you, right? They're probably not going to be for you. You're probably going to vote in, we're probably going to vote in the Antichrist one day or something, right? But it's hilarious to see so many people. It's just, this is going to do it. This is going to do it. Yeah, you think that person who had a, 20%, approval rating is now going to be your savior, is now going to win the day, is now the wonder person. We're delusional. And it's very obvious that we're delusional. It's do you want to, jump into everybody's illusion, right? Wow. No. That's what Ezekiel's saying. No, judgment's going to come. You can live in your illusion. You can think otherwise. But you're thinking off. You're not in reality. Yes, the time has come, the day is here. Buyers should not rejoice over bargains, nor sellers grieve over losses, for all of them will fall under the terrible anger. Hey, all your stocks, all your bonds, all your things, you know what? All the buyers that, man, hey, we're buying, selling, making money, doing this, man, I got a great deal, all done. All done. Maybe we can't get honest with ourselves today because there's too much cognitive dissonance, meaning maybe there's too much guilt. And we just can't face ourselves if we were to really deal honestly with our world and the situation that we're in when it comes to what we've done. What us. Sometimes that happens, right? When you've done something so bad, you don't want to face it. Maybe that's just what's happened with our species. Just an idea. Even if the merchants survive, they will never turn to their busyness. For what God has said applies to everyone, and it will not be changed, so it doesn't matter who you are. Not one person whose life is twisted by sin will ever recover. Wow. Man, what a statement. No one person whose life is twisted by sin will ever recover. That's right. We are lost, right? We are lost. It's painting a picture of there's no, you need saving, like totally. You need someone to save you. This is what salvation's all about, by the way. We're saved by grace through faith, not of works, lest anybody could boast. What could I boast in, right? I need him to grab a hold of me. It says, the trumpet calls Israel's army to mobilize, but no one listens, for my fury is against them all. No one's caring that the sound of war is happening. There's war outside the city and disease and famine within. Those outside the city walls will be killed by enemy swords. Those inside the city will die by famine and disease. The survivors who escape to the mountains will moan like doves, weeping for their sins. Their hands will hang limp and their knees will be weak as water. They will dress themselves in burlap. Horror and shame will cover them. They will shave their heads in sorrow and remorse. Again, short hair, a sign of, mourning, that kind of idea. Long hair or longer hair was always a sign of kind of prosperity, health, right? Yeah. And it says, or if in some countries you shave your head because a lot of bugs too, It says they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them. On that day, the Lord's anger, it will neither satisfy nor feed them, for their greed can only trip them up. That's it. All the money that they got, all the greed, no, it's no longer going to be good. It's not going to be able to help in the time of accountability. There's a day of accountability for all of us. What's going to help you then? Is your money, are you going to be able to buy your way, out of the situation you're in? Is that going to are you going to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to, use your greed to make the way right, to make the crooked path straight? And the answer is no. One day, we're going to have to all get really honest. This is this accountability that's being talked about. And when we get that honest before the honest one, then it will be revealed all of our defects. And that is a scary idea. And most of us have been running from that our whole life. And that's why we go to college and join a different group and get involved in this and get involved with, quote, alternative lifestyles and different things. It's because we're running. We don't want to deal right? None of us do. But it's not just that lifestyle. It's getting into business and getting into your things and getting into money and getting into this. And I want to go do, all those things like that. Is because a lot of us don't want to sit down and really look at just the honest situation that us as human beings are in. We are, us personally are in, where our failures are, and to own up to those things. It's very tough, man. I mean, I see it in my own life all the time. Can I get honest with God today? I'd rather be honest with God today and say, God, this is where I've blown it. I need your help. Than wait for a time where that judgment and accountability is going to be there and I'm going to be freaking out. Might as well get used to that honesty today. Even if it's just a little bit of honesty, just move in that direction, right? So it says, let's see, verse 20, they will be proud of their beautiful jewelry, and they used to make detestable idols and vile images. Therefore, I will make all their wealth disgusting to them. I will give it as plunder to foreigners and the most wicked of nations, and they will defile it. So the wicked of nations will take all your possessions and use it, right? It ain't going to be of any use to you anymore. I will turn my eyes from them as the robbers invade and defile my treasured land, my land. Notice God's land again. Prepare chains for my people in the land that is bloodied by terrible crimes. Jerusalem is filled with violence. I will bring the most ruthless of nations to occupy their homes. Remember Jesus making the cord of whips to go into the temple? Do you think Jesus saw Jerusalem and what it had become in his day? 500 years after the time of Ezekiel? And he saw that it once again Jerusalem became a den of robbers, a violent place, people getting up on another, using people. Interesting. And it says in verse 24, I will bring the ruthless of nations to occupy their homes. I will break down their proud fortresses and defile their sanctuaries. Terror and trembling will overcome my people. They will look for peace, but not find it. Calamity will follow calamity. Rumor will follow rumor. They will look in vain for a vision for the prophets, and they will receive no teaching from the priest and no counsel from their leaders. The king and the prince will stand helpless, weeping in despair. This seems like a poem almost. And the people's hands will tremble with fear. I will bring on them the evil they have done to others, and they will receive the punishment they so richly deserve. Then they will know that I am the Lord. So we see a theme. It's almost like a song, right? You see the song over, or this little chorus. Then they will know I am the Lord. All your stuff's going to go. You're going to see what's happened. And then you will know that I am the Lord. You will wake up. You will come to an understanding that I am the I am, right? When you see. It says that Jerusalem one day is going to look upon the one they have pierced, and they will wake up. Wow, that's interesting. Who did they pierce? I wonder, right? Yeah, Jesus. So, I think for me, I think of being honest today with God, and just laying out where my failures are, in my parenting. God, how many times have I done the wrong thing? To bring that honestly. How many times have I done the wrong thing in my marriage? Bring that honestly before the Lord. Does that make sense? Bring, how in my job, what have I done wrong? Really assess it, not try to hide it. Not try to think that you somehow have it now together. When really probably that's just a lot of pride and fear and insecurity that's really ruling your world again. But to bring all that to the Lord and to do it now and start learning how to be accountable now instead of you're not ready for that time of judgment where you will know He is the Lord and you ain't finally, but it'll be too late. Man, what a word. What a word to think about. That's for sure. Paula says, we have enough sins without judging others. Yeah, amen. Patty says, Bo, you have short and long hair. That's true. I do. I have short and long. I'm trying to do both at the same time. Craig says, just as it is God who calls us, it's him who holds us because we haven't the strength to hold on to him or the righteousness to call on him to love us. Oh, man, so much. I love that, talking about how God holds us. And that's so true. I remember that in the devotion too, how we need God to hold on to us, right? That we are slippery, but he is not. His grab is awesome, right? No one can snatch you out of my hands. No one can snatch you out of my Father's hands. And we see that is actually, remember, we went through that in the Old Testament. That was a quote from the Old Testament. I think it was in Isaiah. It talked about God's hands holding us. So very cool. Very, very cool. Beautiful passage of scripture. So that's 7 and 8 of Ezekiel. So I'll be teaching Wednesday at CCF, teaching Jeremiah 33. Looking forward to that. So we'll talk to you guys soon, okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye.